You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. See, don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me. Don't ever set me free. I always wanna be by your side. Girl, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing. Oh yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. You really got me. You really got me. You really got me.
Welcome back, Lancer Library listeners. This is Mr. Cataret, and I'm here with another edition of Lancer Library Radio. Unfortunately, Connor Elsey is not with us today, so we can't hear any of his wonderful music. He did make one suggestion today when I told him today was going to be a mostly Kinks show. That's right. We're going to be featuring the English band, the Kinks, throughout their career. And we started off the show today with You Really Got Me. That was their first hit single. And that distinctive fuzzy sound that the guitarist Dave Davies got was by taking a razor blade to his speaker. Don't try this at home. All right. Not only is it the Kinks going to be featured today, but today is going to be sport. Now, for those of you that actually listen to the show or have seen me in real life, you know that I know almost nothing about sports. I've seen the Ken Burns baseball documentary, and in fact, you know, it's baseball. I think, you know, really where I got sports, my fondest memories of sports is sitting with my dad on the front stoop of our house, and on a summer day, listening to the Red Sox on the radio. And I just remember it as a nice hum in the background. It was always a pleasant thing. So for those of you that follow baseball, here's a name that you probably haven't heard in about 40 years, Carl Yastrzemski. So there you go. And that's where I begin and end with sports. But we have a couple of people that are going to be helping me out today. We have Mr. Zeth Nolda, phys ed teacher from Waterford High School. And he's going to be helping me talk about a little bit about the varied sports at Waterford High School and teaching phys ed classes in a time of distance learning. And we'll also be talking to senior Ryan Bakken, who is also going to be helping me out a little bit with that. I think he knows some things about sport. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be coming up in the third half of the show. Remember that on Wednesday, we have Youth Officer Megan Silvestri is going to be coming on, and Senior Joe Lathrop will be coming in as well. I'll be talking more about Joe Lathrop later on. I don't know if it's Lathrop or Lathrop. I guess I'll find out on Wednesday. And on Friday, we have Administrative Assistant Deb Bizzello and Senior Ethan Green. So they'll be coming in on Friday. Stay tuned for that. Speaking of seniors, we want to continue our commemoration and our senior roll call for the class of 2020. So let me get the band started up. That's beautiful. Makes me think of a hot summer day, sitting out on the football field, sweating, and listening to lots of names. And these are important names. So please listen up. Every week we're going to do, or every show we're going to do 18 names. So let's start off with our next group. And we have class of 2020, Xavier Matthew Brower, Michael Stephen. I'm going to lower that down a little bit. It's getting in my way. Sean Patrick Buckley, Hannah Grace Burrows, Jared Theodore Burrows, and Maya Jean Bustamante. We'll be getting to more of the names of seniors throughout the show, so eventually we'll get through all of them before June 18th, the last day of school. For right now, we're going to go to our next song by the Kinks, and then after that, on the other side of that, we'll be talking to Zeth Nolda, phys ed teacher. So here is the Kinks, Till the End of the Day.
Baby, I feel good from the moment I rise. Feel good from morning to the end of the day. Till the end of the day. You and me, we live this life. When we get up till we go say goodnight. See the sun up. I feel good, yeah, 'cause my life has begun. You and me are free. We do as we please, yeah, from morning till the end of the day. Till the end of the day. Till the end of the day.
All right, that was the Kinks Till the End of the Day. We have our Kinks show today and our sport show. And with us in the studio, the quarantine bunker, is Zeth Nolda. How are you, Mr. Nolda?
I'm good, Matt. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you on, because otherwise I would just be making up stuff about sport, throwing balls around. I don't know anything about it, so I'm glad that you're here. How is, first of all, let's start off with, you're a phys ed teacher.
Yep.
How is that, how are you, the phys ed department, dealing with the whole distance learning thing?
We're trying to make it work almost as probably every other teacher is. Phys ed can be a little more difficult because normally, you know, we're having them exercise and do all this stuff right in front of us, and that's a big part of it. So we've had to adjust a little bit. Some of it has, you know, it's an honor system for some of the workouts and stuff like that. But we're able to get a little more in depth with some of the material, with the quizzes and stuff, for the study guides and the cognitive part of it. So that kind of helps out a little bit. But overall, it's each week it seems like you get your routine down, and you're just kind of trying to roll with the punches. But we've been making it work.
Yeah, well, you know, you guys shared out that that whole website that you put together. That was awesome.
Yep.
I I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was me, Andy, Meg. Um, try to have a lot of resources for all the students, and not only the students, but for families and everybody.
Let's slow that down a little bit because I want to make certain that everybody gets their due. So that was you, Ms. Megan Gwuds. She was supposed to be here tonight. She had other commitments, so hopefully we can get her back. And Andy Walker. So we want to make certain that everybody gets their due because people are doing hard work. We want to recognize them for that. So you guys put that thing together. How is that working out for you?
It's been very good. It's been a good resource for not only the students, but for the parents, families, faculty, us as well. It's just got a lot of good videos and a lot of different stuff that you can almost investigate, and a lot of stuff I've never even tried before. So you're trying new things and kind of adding it to your repertoire. So it's just, it's trying to just stay healthy through this and kind of keep your sanity.
Yeah. I mean, I saw stuff on there on yoga, on stretching, on all sorts of different fitness challenges. There was guided meditation. I mean, it seemed like there was this huge, wide amount of stuff that people could access. I thought it was pretty impressive. I put it on in fact, I'll probably put it back up on I'll put it in the comments section so people can check it out. I had it up there when I talked about it when Andy Walker brought it out a couple of, I don't know, 6 or 7 weeks ago. Oh my God, I can't believe it's 6 or 7 weeks ago.
I know. I'll tell you, these last few weeks have been kind of flying by here.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
You don't know what day it is all of a sudden. I mean, sometimes it's crazy.
It is well, you know what you guys have done? I saw that and I was like, oh, I put this on the radio show. All right, I gotta do something now. So, so I was joking around. Like I started walking around my neighborhood. I live in this sort of U-shaped, at the end of a U. So I figured out that one circuit was 0.3 of a mile.
Yep.
So if I did 4, I got 1.2 in. But it was the most boring. Yeah, it's like, oh, this place again. But but then I also found out that and then we had crappy weather, and for me that doesn't move. The crappy weather was a great reinforcement to continue to not move. But the weather's been so nice. I actually found out that Norwich has all these historic walks. I started doing this walk down the street from my house. I didn't realize it. There's 2 waterfalls.
Oh, wow.
Within a mile. So now you guys, because I was inspired by that website, and I was like, all right, I got to get out. So I figured out a way to get out. So this is my 6th day.
There you go. Whatever, you got to find what kind of works for you, but what you like, and everybody's a little bit different, and as long as you're doing something to kind of try to stay healthy a little bit, and kind of helps with so much different stuff.
I hate to say this, but you're right.
Yes. I notice if I'm not working out, I get sore, I get tight, I struggle sleeping. The minute I start with that routine again, it just kind of, it's like a remedy. It's good.
Yeah. So let's talk about let's take a step back from this stuff a little bit. And so luckily you're a phys ed teacher. So, so you're talking a little bit about, my daily walks and working out a little bit, but tell me about the bigger picture about sports. I'm not against sports. They just have it's never been my thing. And I'll explain why in a little bit, but I would rather hear from you. What's the important thing about phys ed at the high school, first of all? Like, just talk to me about that.
I think, phys ed, sports, they're all kind of the same, in the same category there. You learn a lot through sport itself. You learn a lot about yourself, teamwork, sportsmanship, dedication, perseverance, and it teaches you all that. And those are things that you can carry through with you, and that you're going to need through life and to be successful. So as a coach and teacher, I apply a lot of the stuff within the lessons to those certain intangibles. That way, hopefully they're leaving your class or your sports program not only getting better at what they're doing, but they become a better person.
So how do you think, so talk to me about those intangibles. I think that's really interesting. How does phys ed, I'm going to my phys ed class and it's like, I got to go take a shower and I got to dress up. And how does that teach me about, well, sportsmanship seems obvious, but how does that teach me about who I am as a person and what strengths I can gain from that? Talk to me about it.
Once, I mean, you're going to be, it's almost like if you're in a band, everybody's got their own little instrument. And if, that piece is just as big as everybody else's, even though it might not be the lead vocalist. Does that make sense?
That's excellent. For me, yes, you're perfect.
Right. That's what I was trying to compare that to. So it'd be, not everybody's the best. And, there's some very talented students, but it's watching them work with everybody else. It's watching the teams come together, the kids work. And through that, they're just learning on their own as they go. And it's something that sports has been a big part of my life. And it's kind of helped me through tough situations. And I think that goes with everything. Like you're saying, music, that could be something that you also learn through the music and everything. So it's just kind of finding your niche that you like. And but
so tell me about where did you start? You were in Waterford.
Yep. So I started, grew up in Waterford. I was a military family, so I moved to Iowa when I was about 8 or 9 for 2 years. But I started sports when I was probably about 5. Started with wrestling first, then baseball, football, and kind of did that all the way up. And it was kind of that season comes, and that's just what you did. And it was just all the way through my life. Sports have always been there. And
did you find? Can I use the term military brat?
Yeah, you can use that.
All right. Did you find with all that moving around you did that sports helped you connect with new schools and situations?
I was just going to say that was the biggest factor of kind of meeting friends and getting involved in the community and stuff. And I think there's about 3 or 4 schools I had to go to. So the minute, sports would start up, you would just kind of meet your friends through that. And it kind of made it moving very easy to kind of settle in with those groups, that can be
because
tough sometimes.
you already have a structure, right? You already know what you're going to be doing once you start playing that game.
Yep.
But how you're going to do it, that's up to you.
Right.
So you already know what the rules are and what the structure is. There's going to be 9 innings. There's going to be 4 downs. See, I actually know something. But, how you're going to accomplish that depends upon your willingness to work and get along with people.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Cool. So what made you make the leap from participating to teaching? What made you make that leap?
I think I've always wanted to be a teacher ever since I was younger. I didn't know exactly what subject yet, but I knew I wanted to be something involved with kids, and I wanted to always coach. I just liked being around the sports and that atmosphere. I could never get enough of it. And it's very different being a participating and then coaching, because you still get the butterflies, you still get the nerves, and you still have that feeling of satisfaction. It's just in a completely different way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But so I've always wanted to be around it.
What was it like when you started coaching? I mean, did you have coaches? You must have had coaches in your life that you looked upon as role models when you started coaching.
Yes, I had one coach really stood out, and one teacher too. Mr. Gamble was an extremely good coach, and I was lucky enough to have him not only through high school, but I had him my 6th grade and middle school wrestling too.
I can tell you though, as a coworker, he's an excellent guy. I mean,
yes,
you're his coworker now, but I mean, you didn't know that when you were in high school. But he's a great guy to work with as well,
Yep.
So you had him as a coach and as a teacher. So that's a shout out to Mr. Gamble.
Yeah, he was. He kind of put me on that path a little bit. And even when I first started coaching, you think you're ready, but you're really not. And there was a lot of things. And I remember emailing him because I was down in Florida, and he was kind of just giving me some advice and help. And I tried to emulate almost everything that what he stood for, and tried to carry that with. So.
Yeah, he's a decent guy, and he always seems like he's thinking about his team.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
In the library, I don't know how many of our listeners know this, but in the library after school, we keep it open till about 3:45 when the late buses come. And I always know when wrestling season is starting because Mr. Gamble's sitting there going through all of the wrestlers' grades. Like, what's this grade? What's that grade? He gets them hooked up with peer mentors. He gets them hooked up with people that are going to help them get better grades. And it's like, for him, it's not one or the other, it's both.
He's looking for you to leave that wrestling program and to be a complete package young man. And it's not always about, who's the best. It's about who's the best teammate. He's looking at everything across the board. Grades, how you are with your teammates, how you are when you win, how you are when you lose, picking people up. And then the bonus is, hey, you know what? You actually turned out to be a pretty darn good wrestler too. So I try to emulate everything he does there. He's a fantastic coach.
Yeah, wow, that's a great testament. So that's about Mr. Gamble, but in general, what do you think makes a good coach?
That's a very good question.
Not even a great coach, but I don't even know how many sports there are at Waterford with. It seems like there's dozens and dozens of sports and all different levels. And you guys you don't have to deal with that. Mr. Landry does, right?
Yep, with all the sports programs, yep, that's Chris as the athletic director.
Yeah, but still, you got to deal with these guys in some level. What makes it? How do you know if you're looking at somebody going, that person is a good coach?
I think you look at all the little things. Not only are they knowledge based without everything that's going on, but they're organized. They look at the little things at practices. You can't let anything slide. You got to be a great motivator. And the biggest thing is trying to bring the team together. Every good sports team I've ever been involved with or around, somehow that coach is able to bring that team together, because when you do that, you're kind of not only playing for yourself, you're playing for your teammates. And when you kind of get that aroma going, you're tough to beat as a whole,
Wow. And I suppose when you do get beat, you have a lot of people that got your back.
Absolutely. That's important.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me about some great teams at Waterford. Who are the people that stick out to you in the past, or the teams that stick out to you in the past year or so?
Waterford has been very fortunate. This class of 2020 is, I think personally, could be one of the best sports classes that's come through Waterford history.
Wow.
They've won state title in baseball, softball, basketball the last 2 years. And technically, because we haven't been able to do the state tournament this year, we're still technically state champs in all three of those sports in the spring.
Wow.
I know cheerleading had a great season. Volleyball got to the state finals.
Yep.
Football had a very good run this year. We made to the state semis, which was, I think, the first time we've ever won a state game.
Wow.
So we made history there. But this class, they just they're very talented, and it's a very special group.
Yeah, and and I have to say that, I don't know, when you first started teaching, I remember when I first started, there was some teacher that said, "Oh, this is a really great class, but this class is kind of rough." And I was like, how do you even look at an entire class?
Right.
But now that I've done it for a while, I can honestly say 2020, there's some years there's people that it's like, yeah, they're nice kids.
Right.
This year, I am really devastated that I do not get to say goodbye to, at least off the top of my head, a dozen students and I don't have classes. I just see them in the library.
Right.
But, at least a dozen, and probably 24 more who, I see on occasion and I go, sports aside, just seems like a nice group of people.
I couldn't agree more. This was actually their freshman year was my first year at Waterford.
That's it?
Right. So I feel very fortunate that I came in with this class, and they're very, very, like you said, I'm going to miss not being able to say bye to them. And not even like now, that 2 week, when it first happened with the quarantine, you were kind of like, all right, well, not expecting it would go this long. So you kind of took it for granted, but I missed just the daily coming in, seeing all the guys, the girls, saying hello, talking to them. I'm going to miss this grade a big time.
Yeah. I think, people aren't getting into teaching because they don't like other people.
Right. At least you hope not.
Yeah. And, and I, there's, like you said, there's a bunch of people that I really look forward to seeing in the library, or when I'm going into classes to teach research. They may not always be excited to see me, but You know, it's rare that I walk into a room, especially of seniors, and I don't go, "Oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, I remember you.
Yep.
How's that work you doing?" It's rare because they were just, you know, they're
Yep.
well-mannered, interesting, funny. I don't know.
I agree with you.
All right. Yeah. So we get a lot of great teams at Waterford, and we want to talk about that. And hopefully we'll, you know, maybe Mr. Bakken can fill us in when I get to him eventually.
Mm-hmm.
How about things you know, what are you doing to keep yourself sane personally in your house? Have you been, I mean, there's no sports to watch, right?
So now they're just starting to kind of they're doing this golf thing right now with this TaylorMade. So you have a couple things, UFC fights are going on, but for the most part, it's been tough. I've been logging in a lot of hours on Netflix.
So yeah, I was
Trying to
just,
work out in my house. I got a bar in my living room, going out for runs. Anything to kind of just kill some time is the biggest thing. I feel like I'm trying to kill time.
yeah, it is. It, you know, if I didn't have this show, I don't know what I would be doing 3
Mm-hmm.
days a week. But
Yeah.
I was thinking it's, you know, for me, I used to teach film studies. I like movies and movies and music. Well, I can watch old movies. I can listen to old music, but I guess I mean, I don't know, part of the thrill of watching sports is because you want to see that action as it happens.
Yep.
You want to see that particular thing going on right there. And I suppose there's not a lot of thrill in, you know, watching the 1975 Red Sox game or something.
Well, you already know the outcome. I'll tell you another thing that's kind of been helping. It was that The Last Dance, that documentary they've been playing on Michael Jordan. It's been a 10 episode every Sunday for the last 5 weeks now. So that's kind of been something to look forward to as well.
Yeah. Mr. Ash was telling me about that, and Connor as well. They both said it was really great.
Very good.
A lot of fun
Very
to
good.
listen to. All right. So we ask all of our guests the same 2 questions before they go. And the first question is, give me 2 things that you're grateful for.
I think the first one would be, at this point, just health. Um, Everybody, family, friends, for the most part, everybody's very healthy still, and nothing has happened drastic. I'm hoping that kind of stays there. The other thing is that through this quarantine, you kind of start to remember what's important a little bit. You know what I mean? Get a lot more time to spend with family and just spend some quality time without much going on. So I think that's also been a bonus as well. You kind of take a step back, you get to these routines, and you kind of forget what's important sometimes. So it's been good to kind of sit back and see that.
Yeah. And so, and then the other thing is, on the other side of this, you know, and apparently the state is opening up on Wednesday.
Yep.
But on the other side of this, what are you looking forward to? I mean, I know we missed the contact with the students and with our coworkers. Is there something else that you're like, you know, as soon as I can do this safely, I'm gonna fill in the blank? What do you miss? What are you looking forward to?
I miss, that's a good question. I think just almost being able to do what you want. You know what I mean? I feel so hindered and kind of like stuck in a shell that it's almost like once everything does, the freedom to kind of go do what you want to do more. But you kind of nailed the bigger one, which was, you know, I'd really like to get out there and hopefully somehow see the kids on a graduation thing. I think that'd be something really nice to look forward to one last time, to kind of see everybody. They get to have a graduation, something gets to happen, or just something to be able to see the kids again before they all go.
Yeah.
You know, one big
important.
hoorah or something.
Yeah. I know people are working on it, and you know, there's other schools that are doing stuff, but hopefully we can get something together.
It's tough, but hopefully.
Mr. Nolda, thank you so much for giving up some of your time to be with us today. You got a song, "Give Me That Girl" by Joe Nichols. Is this going out to anybody, or you just like?
Just a song I've always liked. Came out a while ago. It's an older song. It's just a nice country song. Thank you very much for having me, though. It was fun.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. All right, that was Zeth Nolda, phys ed teacher at Waterford High School, and this is Gimme That Girl by Joe Nichols.
Hang up that red dress, let down your hair, cancel those reservations, there's no need to go nowhere. As good as you're looking right now, girl, I bet you're thinking I'm crazy. There's a side of you that I want to see that never ceases to amaze me. Give me that girl with her hair in a mess, sleepy little smile with her head on my chest. That's the you that I like best. Give me that girl. Give me that girl loving up on me. Old t-shirt and a pair of jeans. That's the you I want to see. Give me that girl. Give me the girl that's beautiful, without a trace of makeup on, barefoot in the kitchen, singing her favorite song, dancing around like a fool, starring in her own little show. Give me the girl that the rest of the world ain't lucky enough to know. Give me that girl with her hair in a mess, sleepy little smile with her head on my chest. That's the you that I like best. Give me that girl. Give me that girl loving up on me. Old t-shirt and a pair of jeans. That's the you I want to see. Give me that girl. Give me that girl. Sleepy little smile with her head on my chest. That's the you that I like best. Give me that girl. Give me that girl loving up on me. Old t-shirt and a pair of jeans. That's the you I want to see. Give me that girl. Give me that girl.
All right, that was Gimme That Girl, and that was going out to, by Joe Nichols, that's going out to Mr. Zeth Nolda, phys ed teacher at the high school, who stopped by to talk to me a little bit about sports, and that was great. You know, just hearing his excitement about talking about being on sports teams, you know, that was great. And just hearing him talk about Mr. Gamble. If those of you that don't know Chris Gamble, he's a great guy, and obviously inspiration for Mr. Nolda. So what's wrong with that? All right, we have our second group of class of 2020. Let me cue up our band. And oh, come on. Makes you feel like you're there, doesn't it? All right, let me see if I can make certain I get these names right. So for the class of 2020, part 2, we have Nehemia Heflin Calixt, Shannon Nicole Elizabeth Carter, Jasmine Cazares, Faith Ann Severa, Jalen Marcus Chappelle, and Lauren Chappett. We'll be getting to more of those names in the third half of the show, but for right now, we're moving on with our tribute to the Kinks. When I told Mr. Connor Elsey, who hopefully is right now not dealing with too many problems from people overcrowding Harkness Park, when I told him that I was going to do a Kinks show, there was one song that he suggested, and I couldn't agree more. Here is Waterloo Sunset by the Kinks. God's name is going? I tell you, I got to talk to the Board of Ed. What I really need is a proper, let's try this again. Connor's he's not gonna be happy about this.
30 old river, must you keep rolling, flowing into the night. People so busy, make me feel dizzy, taxi lights shine so bright. But I don't need no friend, as long as I gaze up Waterloo sunset, I am in paradise. Every day I look at the world from my window. The chilly is the evening time. Waterloo sunset time. Waterloo sunset time. Waterloo Station every Friday night. But I am so lazy, don't want to wonder, I stay at home at night. But I don't feel afraid, as long as I gaze on Waterloo sunset, I am in paradise. Every day I look at the world from my window. But chilly is the evening time. Waterloo sunset's fine. Waterloo sunset's fine. Millions of people swarming like flies round Waterloo Underground. But Terry and Julie cross over the river, where they feel safe and sound. And they don't need no friends, as long as they gaze on Waterloo sunset, they are in paradise.
All right, that was the Kinks with Waterloo Sunset, a special request by my much missed co-host Connor Elsey. Hopefully he'll be back here for Wednesday's show. We always look forward to having him here. But today in the studio, we have the second part of our sports show. We have Mr. Ryan Bakken. Is it Bakken or Bakken?
It's Bakken.
Oh, I always get this wrong. All right.
Nothing wrong with it.
Thank you, Mr. Bakken. I appreciate that. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Well, it's a beautiful day out, and luckily Mr. Nolda went easy on me, didn't treat me like the moron that I am when it comes to sports. So, I'm okay with that. And I don't know, the weather just seems to be getting better, so that's all right. So let's talk a little bit about, I want to get to sports in a second. Let's start off with just sort of quarantine in general. How is the quarantine treating you?
Well, I spend most of my days trying to figure out what I'm going to do that day. And then before I know it, the day's basically over. So with the weather being nice lately, I've been, going for a run. I opened my pool today, but it's been pretty boring.
Yeah, it's been kind of rough. And even when it's not boring, it's just like I was just talking to somebody else, and we were talking about how, the two of us are real. I like to read a lot. I've been finding it really difficult just to concentrate on anything and to sit down. It's like there's nothing I want to read. I got a house full of about 3,000 books, and I'm like, nah, I'll do something else. So
Yeah, I've been finding that with as much time as I have to do stuff, I have less motivation to do it than I did when we're in school and I only have a few hours to get stuff done.
yeah, I think you're absolutely, yeah, I completely agree. It's been kind of crazy. I don't know what it is about the whole situation, because it's not like summertime.
Yeah,
Because
no,
you,
there's
because
no freedom
summer's
to
going
go
to
do
end.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's just been a weird situation. Well, I'm glad I'm not alone in that. Um, so we got the sports show that we're talking about, and apparently you've got something to do with sport. Uh, um, you're part of the football team,
Yes,
and as far as I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, but and you're the quarterback, correct?
I was.
You, my guess is you always will be. So uh, this year was the winningest year in Waterford's football history. Isn't that true?
So we made it the farthest. So we technically our final record at the end of the season was 10-2, and teams have won 10 games before, but they never won any playoff games. So we made it further than any team in Waterford ever has.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. Um, how long have you been on the football team?
I played all 4 years here.
And what made this year different? How come you got so far? I mean, I have to assume there's a lot of, you know, you're probably with the same group of guys from freshman year, right?
Well, kind of. So there was a kind of a core group of us that have played all 4 years, and sophomore year we went 0-10, like we won 0 games. And last year we were 3-7, so we were all just kind of tired of losing, and we just kind of got together and we're like, this year we have to win. And we went out and we got some of our other buddies who used to play. I got, just to name a few, my friends Trey Brennan, Matt Sanford, Peyton Sutton. They all used to play. We all play youth together, and we got them to come out this year, and they were big parts of the team. And really, just the whole senior class this year just kind of put it together.
Yeah, there's like I said, I see those guys in the library all the time, and they're not only like yourself, nice people, but apparently very good athletes as well. But Mr. Nolda was talking about, the coaching and putting a team together. And number one, they knew you were the quarterback. They must have trusted you.
Yeah, so I never actually started playing quarterback until junior year. So this was only my second year, but our coaches, they gave me a lot of responsibilities. So I had freedom to kind of improvise on plays and make reads, which I enjoyed. I didn't always do the right thing, but more right than wrong. So it worked out.
Yeah, apparently so. It seemed to work out pretty well. So what's your responsibility so you got to school me here. If I'm watching this game, this may be a surprise to you, I don't think I have ever seen an entire football game. Seriously, I just, like I said, it's not like I think it's bad or stupid. It's just like, I haven't seen an entire opera either. So there's lots of things I haven't done. But but break it down for me. What are you doing out on the field?
So I only play offense, so I don't have to worry about the defense's responsibilities. But so when we're on offense, our coaches call the plays. I didn't get to do that myself, unfortunately. I think that would have been fun. But so he gives me a play, and on almost all the plays, there are reads I make, which means like I could either give the ball to someone else, or I keep it myself, or I could throw it. So I kind of, before, we break the huddle and we go up to the line, I have to look at the defense and see where they're lined up, what kind of coverage they're playing, and I decide what I think the best option is with the play that our coach called. And then I make that decision, and hopefully it works out.
And like you said, seemed to work out a lot. So, what else do you play at the high school? You don't just play football though, right?
No, so I play basketball and baseball.
Yeah, and baseball had a good year, didn't it?
Last year we had a great year, and we would have had probably an even better year this year. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see how that happened. We would have had most of our team coming back with a big senior class, and it would have been fun to see what we could have done.
Waterford has a really strong baseball history, doesn't it?
Yeah, we have won the most state championships out of any team in the state.
Don't mumble that. Say that again.
Waterford has won the most baseball state championships in the entire state.
That's pretty awesome, and you've been a part of that as well. Well, why? Why do you think? What is it about being on a Waterford baseball team? Is it Mr. Peluso just scares you, and he scares me, so that makes sense. But what is it about being on that winning team?
I think Waterford has just kind of built up the reputation of a baseball town, and like our youth programs they're pretty good, we win, but when you come into high school, you figure out quickly that you better take it seriously and work in the off season a lot or you don't play.
Mm-hmm.
And that might not work out for some people if they don't have the mentality and the drive to do it, but we have enough people that want to be a part of this winning program, so they put in the work, and the more we win, the more people that want to play, and it's just a circle that goes around.
Self-perpetuating. That's really great. So you've been in we were talking about this before the show, and this is something that, like I said, it's foreign to me. So I'm curious what your take on it is. So you had a great year with football, but you admitted the first couple of years were not good. Your first 3 years in high school, you guys had some what did you say you had 0 and 10?
Yeah. Sophomore year we were 0-10. We didn't win a single game.
Yeah. So why did you come back? And well, more importantly, so I asked you about a great team. Can you have a great team and there's got to be something that drew you back, and it's not just because you like wearing a helmet.
Yeah, so to keep it simple, I just love everything about the sport. I mean, football, it's the most fun sport personally, I believe. You just put in work that, at least in the other sports I play, you don't. That in the gym before practice and after practice and the conditioning and the summer workouts, and you just bond with your teammates more than I have in other sports. And it just makes you, when it comes game time, you want to fight for the person next to you because of everything you guys have put in together. And it's just those relationships and that just I couldn't walk away from.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds impressive. And let me ask you the same thing I asked Mr. Nolda. What makes a great coach? I mean, you've talked a lot about putting in a lot of work, and you've talked a lot about your teammates, but can you have a great team without a great coach? Can you, I don't know. How does that work? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, you could absolutely have a great team without a great coach. There are plenty of coaches that just don't know what to do with a team, and some that sometimes they look good because they have really good players, and then they don't look as good when they don't have as really good players. So a great coach knows how to adapt with who he's got. You have to look at the kids you have on your team, and you have to know their strengths and come up with a game plan and practice plans on how to play to those strengths, to win games. You got to have meetings after practice and research. Like our football coach this year, he put in more hours than probably most coaches ever have in trying to come up with these new plays and game plans, not all of which worked, but he put in the time.
Yeah,
And
but you don't know until you got to take the risk or you're
Yeah.
not going to get anywhere.
You have to be brave enough to try something, because just because something's worked in past years doesn't mean it's going to work this year. People change, other teams change. You have to be able to adapt and come up with something new.
Wow. And I think I also forgot about so basketball as well.
Yeah.
Basketball has had some good runs at Waterford High School. Tell me a little bit about basketball.
We have. So I took sophomore year off of basketball. I thought after freshman year that I was only going to play 2 sports. I was only going to play football and baseball, and I was just going to use the winter to get ready for baseball and work out and stuff like that. But actually that year, if you know who Tim Lineberg is, he's a football coach, a basketball coach.
Yeah, he looks like the front line of a football team.
He is
I had
an
Mr. Lineberg in
amazing guy.
class. I had Mr. Lineberg in class when I taught English.
Yeah, he is an amazing guy, great coach. But I would work out with him after school, and he just pestered me to come back to basketball. So I did, and basketball is it's a great sport. I mean, I got to be part of the championship run junior year behind, I didn't play, but it was still there, still fun. And then this year, we lost a lot of talent, so we kind of had to figure out how to get through that. We had a lot of adversity this year. We weren't the best team in the state. We didn't have multiple players going all state. So we had to do something that Waterford basketball hasn't done in a while. We had to figure out how to win games without just pure talent. And it was a struggle, but I mean, everyone got stronger, got better in it. I enjoyed it.
So, and what was your record at the end of the year?
I want to say we finished 9 and 12, 10 and 12, maybe 10 and 12 sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but, and yet, so look, this, I think you can handle this. This is going to sound, I'm not going to be able to say this nicely, but that doesn't sound like a good season.
No, it doesn't.
But the way, so my second half of it, but the way you talk about it, it does sound like a good season.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny. After the first 2 games of the season, we did not start off very well. I remember thinking, there is no way I should be winning more games in a football season than in a basketball season when you play twice as many games. That just shouldn't happen in a town that's known to be good at basketball and known to not be good at football. It was kind of weird, but it made everyone on the team learn how to deal with adversity, and everyone had to change, players and coaches. We had to learn to work with what we got and to rely on other people. And we didn't really have a one-man show. People had to fit into new roles, and we got to players grew and stepped up in big moments, and we all just kind of worked together to work through it. And it was a good senior season, not like a state championship run, but I would not say it was a bad season. That's
the thing that I think that's awesome. It was just so fascinating to hear the numbers and to hear your attitude disregarding the numbers. I thought that was really interesting. All right. Is there anything that I'm missing about anything that, I don't know. We don't have a lot of shows coming up. I know Ms. Gwud's, I'm hoping she'll be back on at some point. Anything else that I should know about sports or at Waterford High School? Any names that you want to make certain gets out onto the YouTube airwaves? I just want to make certain that I get everything as much as I can out of this.
Well, one thing I just think people should know is that this spring season, I think everyone got robbed of it, but I think Waterford really, really got robbed from it. We had a really good baseball team coming back. I know the softball team was coming back. with a lot of seniors, good leadership. It would have been a special season this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't even get bringing back up Tim Lineberg. He was going to coach baseball this year. He's one of my favorite coaches I've ever had.
Why?
Just want to give him a shout. That's freshman year. He just kind of stuck with me. In football, so we don't really have a freshman football team anymore. We have like just a JV and a varsity because numbers are low.
Mm-hmm.
But my freshman year, we had a freshman team. We had a freshman JV and varsity, and he was one of the freshman coaches. So I just kind of looked up to him, and he just kind of helped guide me. And I would go, and he was the one who got me into going to play JV that year with Mr. Nolda, one of my other favorite coaches I've ever had. And throughout, especially football, we would just spend most of our practice time together, after practice together, in school, talking about what we were going to do that day, how we were going to win. And both of them always just had ideas, had film for me to look at, had suggestions. And, they didn't say it like, you're doing this terrible, like, this is bad. They show me what I'm doing wrong, how I could do it better. They respect when I have something else to say of what I think we could do. And they were just open to ideas and respectable. And it made them great coaches.
Wow. That's great. Yeah, they're both great people. So you heard what I said to Mr. Nolda. A couple of questions to finish this up with. We didn't even talk about where you're going next year. Tell them, where are you going next year? What's your plan, at least for right now?
Yeah, so hopefully, I'll be going to Clemson University in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
I decided I took the route of not playing college sports. I wanted to kind of get the big school environment and be around the sports, and Clemson has really good, especially football, but they have good basketball and baseball, and I'll just play like the intramurals, the pickup games for fun.
Oh, cool. Well, what are you going to school for? What do you plan on majoring in?
Civil engineering is the plan.
Wow. So what's the job down the line?
So I can't say for sure, but I've always, throughout high school, I kind of developed this liking and the desire to like design things, whether it's buildings or just like structures or just new like parts of something.
Mm-hmm.
So civil engineering, of what I've read there, is just kind of like a track to like grad school, and even further if I wanted to get degrees in like architecture or to become a professional engineer, so you can actually be the person to draw things. So just somewhere along those lines.
Wow. All right. That's cool. So that was great. Mr. Bakken, thank you so much for being here today. See if you can strong arm some of your friends. We got a couple of empty spots that we're trying to fill in, and we would love to have them on the show. But
Yeah.
You gave me something to play. Is this going out to anybody, or is just something that you like and that because you're sick of my music, which is perfectly understandable?
This is just something I like. I've been going through a lot of old songs and playlists because I've had nothing better to do. And this is just one of those songs that I feel like if it ever comes across, I never skip it. I just like it.
All right. That's great. So this is Jay-Z, Run This Town.
Baseball is a 19th century pastoral game. Football is a 20th century technological struggle. Baseball is played on a diamond, in a park, the baseball park. Football is played on a gridiron in a stadium, sometimes called Soldier Field or War Memorial Stadium. Baseball begins in the spring, the season of new life. Football begins in the fall when everything is dying. In football, you wear a helmet. In baseball, you wear a cap. Football is concerned with downs. What down is it? Baseball is concerned with ups. Who's up? Are you up? I'm not up. He's up. In football, you receive a penalty. In baseball, you make an error. Whoops. Football has hitting, clipping, spearing, blocking, piling on, late hitting, unnecessary roughness, and personal fouls. Baseball has the sacrifice. Football is played in any kind of weather. Rain, sleet, snow, hail, mud. Can't read the numbers on the field, can't read the yard markers, can't read the players' numbers. The struggle will continue. In baseball, if it rains, we don't come out to play. I can't come out to play. It's raining out. In football, the object is for the quarterback, otherwise known as the field general, to be on target with his aerial assault, riddling the defense by hitting his receivers with deadly accuracy, in spite of the blitz, even if he has to use the shotgun. With short bullet passes and long bombs, he marches his troops into enemy territory, balancing this aerial assault with a sustained ground attack which punches holes in the forward wall of the enemy's defensive line. In baseball, the object is to go home and to be safe. I hope I'll be safe at home. Safe at home.
All right, that was George Carlin comparing baseball to football. I would be curious what Mr. Bakken would say about that. Wasn't that a great interview? Both of those guys were terrific. I was really happy to have them on the show. So Waterford is in the New London Day again. And this is from an article by Sten Spinella, Day staff writer. I'll put a link to the article in the comments section. There is something called Adopt a High School Senior. There is a Facebook group started about a month ago to match residents with high school seniors. Parents post photos and biographies of their graduating senior in the group, and the first person to comment adopted will send the teen little gifts of encouragement for the rest of the year. So I'm going to put the article on there. I'll also put the link to the Facebook group. Obviously, everybody knows what teen I have adopted. I think it's Connor. I'm going to get him through this, and the little gifts that I send him are things like letting him choose the music. I guess that's what it comes down to. But this week, I get to choose the music, and so decided upon the Kinks, and we're moving into the 70s and 80s with this. Here is another song by the Kinks, Low Budget.
Excuse my shoes, they don't quite fit. They're a special offer and they hurt me a bit. Even my trousers are giving the pain. They were reduced in the sale, so I shouldn't complain. They squeeze me so tight, so I can't take no more. They're a size 28, but I take 34. I'm on a low budget. What would you say? I'm on a low budget. I said that. shopping at Woolworths and low discount stores. I'm dropping my standards so that I can buy more. Low budget sure keeps me on my toes. I count every penny and I watch where it goes. We're all on our uppers, we're all going skin. I used to suck cigars, but now I suck more omens. I'm on a low budget. What did you say? I'm on a low budget. I've always said that. I'm on a low budget. I'm a cut-price person in a low budget, man. Low budget. Money is scarce, and that ain't funny. Millionaires are things of the past. We're in a low-budget film where nothing can last. Money is rare, there's none to be found. So don't think that I'm tight if I don't buy around. I'm on a low budget. Yes, I'm on a low budget. I've always said that. I'm on a low budget. I'm a cut-price person in a low-budget land. Say it again. One more time.
All right, that was the Kinks with Low Budget, something that everybody needs to be concerned about these days. All right, let's get to the class of 2020, part 3 for today's show. Let's cue up my band again. Let's see if I can get them going. There they are. Beautiful. This is right in the mood. All right, so class of 2020, part 3 for today's show. Sabrina, very shorn. Marilyn, Mackenzie, Childs. Jessica, Chin. Michael, Zinami. Emily, Close. Owen, Codair. All right, we'll be getting more, eventually working our way through the entire senior class before Lancer Library is done. And we are starting to wind down like so many things. This is the show for May 18th. The last day of school is June 18th. So if there's anybody, any last minute requests you want, any last minute shout outs you want to get out, we're still looking for students and we're still looking for a few teachers to fill in some blank spots. So please help us out. On Wednesday, we have Youth Officer Megan Sylvester and Senior Joe Lathrop coming in. And on Friday, we have Administrative Assistant Deb Bizzello and Senior Ethan Green is going to be showing up. For now, I'm Mr. Carteret without Connor Elsey, unfortunately. We look forward to having him back on Wednesday's show. And I wanted to finish off today's show with one last song by the Kinks. I thought this would be appropriate for everybody. Thank you again for listening. Here is the Kinks with Better Things.
something better comes tomorrow. Hoping all the verses rhyme and the very best of choruses too. Follow all the